Yeah, check and see. Yeah, I don't wanna speak if he's speaking. Wait till he gets done. Everybody okay? Everybody make it out all right?
Hey, is Vice President Biden still speaking right now? He's still at the event, but he's done speaking
Okay.
for now.
Well, I'll get started. Is it okay with y'all?
Yeah. So we're gonna start.
Okay.
I gotta go. Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
But we're safe. Thank you.
There you go. It's all good. All good. So as you can imagine, everybody in politics and at the federal level was asked a lot of questions by people in the media. What was yesterday like? What does it all mean? Rather than doing a bunch of interviews, I thought I'd give my view of what happened yesterday and the way forward for the country, and try to get back to South Carolina and help the transition here. The first thing that stands out to me is how embarrassed and disgusted I am that the United States Capitol could be taken over by domestic terrorists while we're in session, transferring power from one president to the other, that a band of people who are terrorists, not patriots, literally occupied the floor of the House, drove the Senate out of its chamber, and the question for the country is, how could that happen 20 years after 9/11? September this year will be the 20th anniversary of the attack on our nation. It is mind-boggling that such an event could occur. Senator Schumer's call for the Sergeant of Arms of the Senate to resign. I echo that. Anyone in charge of defending the Capitol failed in their duties. If they would have been in the military, they would have been relieved of their commands and most likely court-martialed. So the first thing that has to happen is to hold those accountable for failing to defend the nation's capital while the Congress was in session. Why am I worried? It would have been so easy for a terrorist organization to infiltrate this movement. The lone wolf terrorist, I think we've got a pretty good grip on. But political protest in this country is the heart and soul of who we are. But we haven't been protesting lately. We've been burning down cities. We've been attacking federal courthouses. We've been looting in the name of social justice. And now we've occupied the Capitol. This needs to stop. To my Democratic colleagues, I share your disgust and embarrassment and determination to make sure that what happened in our Capitol never happens again. But you need to speak up when this happens in other places. Lawlessness in one place breeds lawlessness everywhere. When one cause resorts to violence and people are not prosecuted, other causes believe maybe this is okay. So the mistake we made is when people tried to destroy the courthouse in Portland, they weren't prosecuted to the full extent of law. When they occupied Seattle, they weren't prosecuted to the full extent of the law. When they attacked the acceptance of the nomination by President Trump here in D.C., virtually no one was prosecuted. It's good to hear everybody wanting prosecutions. Some are late to the dance. I was there from day one. So let's reset and move forward until every political movement out there, no matter how just your cause in your own mind, using violence will not advance your cause. It will only lead to your personal incarceration, or if you go too far, to injury. So what am I calling for? I'm calling for a joint task force to be assembled and spend all the time and money necessary to identify every person who breached the security of the Capitol, who occupied the chambers, who invaded offices and destroyed property. There's a ton of video evidence out there. I was interviewed this morning by 2 FBI agents. They came to my house wanting to know if I had any surveillance cameras outside my house. I did not, but I'm encouraged they're on the case. Trust me, in the social media world that exists today, it won't be that hard to find thousands of people who took the law in their own hands. The people sitting in the chairs need to be sitting in a jail cell. The people who attacked the Capitol Police need to be charged with attacking a police officer. Sedition may be a charge for some of these people. So I will, for the next 6 years, God willing, every week ask of the Department of Justice, starting with this Department of Justice and the next Department of Justice, what kind of progress are you making in holding those accountable, the domestic terrorists who took over the House and the Senate chambers and laid waste to Capitol Hill? What do you need that you don't have? If you need more prosecutors, money will not be an object. If you need more investigators, we'll provide you the resources. This is a moment for the nation to show will and determination, to be a nation of laws, that anarchy shall not reign, the Constitution controls, not the mob. Yesterday, I was proud of Senator McConnell, the Republican leader of the Senate, who stood up and called for a peaceful transfer of power to Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris. Like Senator McConnell, I supported President Trump. I've become close to the president personally. I think his president has been consequential from a conservative point of view. It has been an amazing 4 years in terms of judges, securing the border, a vaccine in record time, deregulating the economy, cutting taxes, historic Mideast peace agreements, the destruction of the caliphate, on and on and on, was tarnished by yesterday. When it comes to accountability, the president needs to understand that his actions were the problem, not the solution. That the rally yesterday was unseemly, it got out of hand, and a good friend of mine, Rudy Giuliani, did not help. I said on the floor of the Senate, I cast my vote accordingly, that Joe Biden is the legitimate president-elect of the United States. Are there irregularities in this election? Yes, I'm sure there are. Have they been overblown? Absolutely. There's been a constant effort by people from the president's legal team to provide misinformation, to distort the facts, to make accusations that cannot be proven. That needs to stop. As to the 25th Amendment being invoked, I do not believe that's appropriate at this point. I'm looking for a peaceful transfer of power. I'm looking for the next 14 days to reset, and we will hand off power in a traditional sense by it being a peaceful transfer. I talked to Mark Meadows this morning. The transition is going well. It is fully in place. I talked to the President's legal counsel, Pat Cipollone. He is doing everything he can to help the transfer occur. As to these two gentlemen, most Americans will never know the service that Mark Meadows and Pat Cipollone and those under their charge provided to this country over the last year. Talked to Secretary Mnuchin today, who's in Israel. No one will fully understand what he and others have brought to the table. So to those who believe you should leave your post now to make a statement, I would urge you not. To Robert O'Brien, you've been a good counsel to the president. You've been a steady hand. I've been missing your phone calls. Robert, stay on. To those in the national security apparatus, we need you now more than ever. So I embrace Joe Manchin's statement. I talked to Joe this morning. He has called for those around the president to stay in place to ensure that we can have a peaceful, efficient transfer of power. Why do I say that Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States? Because he got the most votes. The state certified him the winner, enough to get over 300 electoral votes, and all you need is 270. To my colleagues who objected yesterday, you didn't do anything illegal. The law allows you to do what you did. I respect your ability to do it. I disagreed with what you were trying to do. One member of my conference said, we can't turn a blind eye to the problems in this election. I will tell the American people, there has not been a blind eye turned. The allegations about the law being broken in Wisconsin, that they changed election law contrary to the Wisconsin Constitution because of COVID, was litigated by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. They ruled 4-3 that what happened was legal. Al Gore accepted a 5-4 decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to end his litigation to be President of the United States. My job is not to overturn the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The allegations about the consent decree in Georgia changing Georgia law unconstitutionally were litigated in federal court, and the Trump team lost. The people on the campaign legal team have made accusations without sufficient proof. They have been more the problem than the solution. They have claimed that 66,000 people in Georgia voted under 18. I have not found one person. They have claimed that 8,000 felons voted from prison in Arizona. I've asked for a list of names and received none. This needs to end. A blind eye was not turned. The outcome that was reached was disappointing to those of us who supported the president, but it was done through the lawful process of challenging courts, court challenges, and actually having hearings with the legislative bodies of these swing states. Not one judge anywhere in the land accepted the accusations to be legitimate, and not one legislative body in the states in question decided to change the certification after hearing the accusations. The Congress' job is not to overturn elections that we disagree with. The Congress's job is to count the votes sent in by the states that were lawfully certified and declare the one with the most votes the winner, President and Vice President. As to Mike Pence, in this debacle of the last week or so, there's one person to me that stands out above all others, and that is Vice President Mike Pence. The things said about him, the things he was asked to do in the name of loyalty were over the top, unconstitutional, illegal, and would have been wrong for the country. Mike Pence faithfully fulfilled the duty assigned to any vice president to count the votes and declare the winner. To those who would wish that the Vice President of the United States could send electoral votes back to the states because they believe fraud was involved, be careful what you wish for. Do you really believe it's good in America for a single person to have that power? Do you think the 12th Amendment gives that power? Absolutely not. So what's so disappointing to me is that people who have prided themselves on being constitutional conservatives were pushing this bizarre theory. So I just want every Republican to know that in my view, limited government applies when you don't like the outcome just as much as when limited government applies and you do like the outcome. The Constitution needs to be followed as written, even though you wish you could do something the Constitution does not allow to get your way. That's the very essence of activism. To those who were pushing the idea that Vice President Pence had the power to unilaterally set aside certified electoral votes from a single state or send them back, you have cheapened the idea of constitutional conservatism. So when asked to do something against conservative values that would be harmful to the nation, Mike Pence said no. Other people chose this moment to advance their personal causes. I have found in this job over time, moments like this come back to haunt you if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. So, January the 20th, I intend to be there. I am hoping that President Trump will allow his team to continue to work closely with the Biden transition team to transfer power peacefully. That President Trump will focus on some of the achievements he has accomplished, remind the country of the consequential presidency he has had, accept that he fell short and a new president will be coming, and to turn down the rhetoric and allow us as a nation to heal and move forward. To my Democratic colleagues, I ask the same of you. Then I'll take questions.
Senator Graham, you were one of President Trump's biggest critics during the 2016 election. Then you became one of his biggest supporters. Do you have any regrets in your support of him and what this has led to at this moment?
No. I was a opponent of President Trump, and I got beat like a drum. I didn't scratch. I had a decision to make. I said everything I could think about regarding him as a candidate. The people of South Carolina spoke. He won my state, and he became President of the United States. So I decided then, it's not about me, it's about my job as being a senator from South Carolina. People from South Carolina wanted me to work with this president, and I did. I did the same with Obama. I'll do the same with Biden. But this is a Republican president. He changed my opinion of who he was through his actions.
His actions yesterday, though, and helped incite a mob riot.
Just let me get there. The reason I've been close to the president is I think he's done tremendous things for this country. I think the judges he has nominated have been outstanding choices, and we saw yesterday an independent judiciary. I think people like Bill Barr were the best people in the country to be Attorney General at the time they were. I think what he did to destroy the caliphate was long overdue. It makes it safer. I think getting out of the Iran nuclear agreement has led the way to peace between the Arabs and the Israelis at a level I would have never imagined. I think he's brought order to the border. He listened to me. He asked my advice about judges. When I got upset about Syria, he listened, and he actually changed his policies. I could never get Obama to do that. Obama, I had a good relationship with him, but with Senator McCain, we begged him, do not leave Iraq. But he did. As to yesterday, it breaks my heart that my friend, a president of a consequence, would allow yesterday to happen. And it will be a major part of his presidency. It was a self-inflicted wound. It was going too far. And here's the one thing I can say. The next 2 weeks can begin to right the ship depending on how the president behaves. And over time, his presidency will be viewed in a fuller context. I have absolutely no regrets of helping this president make us safer, more prosperous. I've enjoyed my relationship with him. I say these things not because of animosity. I say these things because I have to.